In this episode of I Am Tenacious Lifestyle and Wellness, I sat down with lyricist SkyBlew of SkyBlew Music. We had the best conversation. Make sure you watch it all the way through because he dropped some exclusives just for us. And even after I turned off the camera, he gave me some more exclusives. So make sure you stay tuned for a future episode. Ladies and gentlemen, SkyBlew. It's definitely good to see you, and I appreciate you doing this with me. I have been a fan for a long time.
Oh well, hey, that's a blessing. Thank you. I
Yeah,
really appreciate that.
I I'm excited that I get to learn just a little bit more about you because it's a conversation you and I have never really got to have. Like I know that we're
Right.
Virgo twins, and I know that you're in the North Carolina area, things like that. But I don't really know a lot about Mario versus Sky Blue and what the two have in common. So can you tell me a little bit about that, like Mario and Sky Blue?
Ah, mm, it's like what can I tell you about it? Autumn rapper paint the sky blue. That's something.
Hmm.
And one of the things is Mario and Sky Blue are one and the same. You know, a lot of artists they kind of have like it's like their alter ego.
Hmm.
But like Mario and Sky Blue is one of those things where it's like I'm telling my story in like a unique way. So I had to create a character, but the character is still embodying me as a person and things that that I went through in my life and different parallels. But I had to tell this story in such a unique way that I had to come up with like at least an image, a character that somebody can, that can tell different stories and go in and out of different concepts and things because I've created, my family support me know I created like this musical universe
Hmm.
and I'm still fleshing it out, but I got a lot of different concepts, themes, ideas, and things that connect and that I'm going to be building on for the future. So in order to tell that, I had to do it in a way where the artist Sky Blue had to be
Yeah.
the person to be the narrator, while Mario is the person that is going through a lot of this stuff as well. And Sky
Yeah.
Blue is kind of like I don't know, in a way. I'm trying to explain it without saying too much because a lot of what I do is pretty mysterious. So I don't want
Okay.
to. It's something that the supporters and fam they're still trying to figure out. That's a good way to say it. I'm not trying to give them everything, but there's some little seeds in there, and I think over time they're gonna start sprouting. They'll get like, oh, okay, this makes sense now.
Yeah. You don't want
So
to
it's one of
give it
those
all
things.
away at once. You just want to reveal one layer at a time.
Right? Exactly.
Um,
Yep.
Especially because it keeps the ride or dies, like the OGs,
Hmm.
intrigued and then wondering what's next. And then people who are now coming in, they're able to get an idea of that full spectrum of the story,
Right.
and
Right.
keep everybody's attention. So I like that.
Oh,
Um,
appreciate it. Is my mic loud enough, by the way? I know
yeah,
I got
yeah.
like a light voice. I just want to make sure. Okay, cool.
No, you're fine. I want to understand where the concept of painting the sky blue actually came from.
Okay. So one of my main slogans is I don't rap, I paint the sky blue. And
Mhm.
a lot of rappers just be like, I ain't a rapper and things like that. And it's not really about like I'm not a rapper. It's more the things of when different paintings and different art, it's like a lot of different layers to it. And, you got your impressionists and you got your abstract art, watercolors and different things
Mhm.
like that. So each painting you had to select a different specific type of paint. You had to have a different image in mind, but to make it to make it turn out the way you want it to turn out, like, oh, if this gonna be on acrylic, this gonna be more that you can
Yeah.
touch and feel like it kind of stands out. But if it's like watercolor, it's gonna blend a little more and it's gonna connect a little more on and you can spread it out even more and still have it connected to the picture. And I'm saying that because that's how I want my music to be, because I
Mm.
want it to be like it's more than just some raps, like some cool raps. It's like, now I want to tell a story. I want to paint a picture. And this picture, everybody may get a different perspective and outlook on it, but it is a cut. That connects back to the Mario and Sky Blue thing. There's a story of Mario want to tell, but Sky Blue is gonna tell it in a different way.
Yeah.
But it's still, I'm still the person that came up with the story. but I wanted to be painted a different way. And I take a lot of my experiences in life.
Hmm.
One of the things was I'm not a fan of storms. I don't like storms. I like, I like blue skies because I guess it was symbolic to my life story growing up. And like storms usually meant something bad is happening. And that's connecting back to my foster care days and all that stuff.
Hmm.
So I was like, as an artist, I want to give them that feeling through music because a lot of people are looking for hope. And I know a lot of people can relate. So like, yeah, storms do kind of make me feel kind of like crappy, and people don't say it a lot because it makes it seem like you just gotta be okay with it. But a lot of people aren't okay with crazy storms and stuff. So I was like, yeah, I want to give them that in music form because a lot of people going through things in life. But I want to be able to paint the sky blue with a story and a picture where you play it and metaphorically it chase those gray clouds away and the sun started to come in, the sky
Yeah.
becomes blue, and that's how people, that's what they say about my music before I was
Right.
even coming up with that slogan. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to like put that together. And so I want to be like, I'm like the weatherman, but I want to be able to change the weather form. Like a lot of weathermen, they get things wrong or you don't like their predictions. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. I feel like you're pretty much answering my next question where I want to understand where the inspiration for your music does come from. And it's not so much, who are some other lyricists that inspire you? I want to understand what inspires you, like going for a walk and seeing, somebody walking their dog, or, you're reading a book or you're listening to music. Like, what is it that clicks in your head and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna do something with that. Like, what is that process for you?
um that's a good question. Some of my influences and inspiration that inspire me is like life and
Mhm.
like what I just said, but also like some of these things like anime, video
Yeah.
games, 90s and stuff, radios, music, all that, and but like my life experiences and things like I tell my life story different ways. Like I said, I don't want to give them all, so
Mhm.
everything. So I give them tidbits. So it's a ongoing journey that's unfolding from presently to future to my past that they're still trying to connect. That's part of the mystery. It's rhythm escapism is part of the giving them a cohesive thing that they can escape into and get different that can get something from every outlet, from the music to the videos to the written lore and all that. But that's and things like that inspire me because I like books, good books. God inspires me, of course, and life. Some of my influences, like my grandma, my granddad, rest in
Mhm.
peace. You know, um, my crew, my fam, my colorful dreamers that rock with me, they inspire me.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, crappiness of the world, news and everything that inspires me because
Exactly. I
because
had
that
a
time.
feeling.
Right, right. Because that ties back to the whole paint the sky blue thing of like, it's been, if I were to summarize like the last couple of years, it's been like a lot of gray skies and it's been like very stormy.
Mhm.
So I'm like, yeah, it's time for some sunshine, it's time for some rainbows, it's time for some hope and some
Yeah.
love. And so I think about things that inspire me of like mysteries. For one, in some of my songs I've said before, like I'll be saying like detective or spirit detective, or if I
Mhm.
wasn't rapping, I would be a detective.
A
That's
spirit
how,
detective. Wow.
yeah. So that's if people
Yeah.
don't know, that's like a tidbit right there. So
Yeah.
if I wasn't rapping, I'll be a detective. And I approach music like that too. If I got a theme and a concept that's coming out like an analog mystery, that might be some. I ain't gonna say too much. So if I got a concept coming out and I'm like, I want to approach it like a detective, so I got the storyboard and got the
Mhm.
strings put together. I was like, okay, here's this concept, here's this character, here's this idea. I want to put all that together. How am I gonna get from point A from point D? Like,
Mhm.
so I may not start on point A. I may start on point D, like, oh, here's this thing, and I want to connect to that. But that's gonna connect to that, and that's gonna connect to that. But I gotta get the listener and the viewer, the experience, the person that's experiencing it, they gotta first understand that this is something I should be questioning. And that's something that I like as I'm approaching my music because I'm a storyteller and there's a universe I'm creating and I want to expand on it and get them to go backtracking and asking questions and interacting with each other because that's part of the rhythm escapism is building that community and everybody coming together as part of the picture. So I like different mysteries and like ARGs and video games and books and stories and comics and manga, and especially the mystery part of it, because I like solving. I like what it takes to solve this, because you feel like, yo, I got it. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that was cool. I get how this person was trying to do it. That was really dope. So you got to pay attention to everything that somebody is saying, or how they approach things, or like, they know when they see how I write certain things online, if they haven't paid attention, the ones that know are like, yeah, you gotta kind of pay a little more attention to what he's saying, or why he said that, or why you chose to put that emoji there. Things like that inspire me, and music as a whole inspire me, and dreams. I'm a dreamer. I'm a colorful dreamer. So dreams, and I'm a daydreamer. Like, I have more vivid dreams in the daytime, and I
Mm,
put that into my music, and I want to give people that, because
yeah.
imagination and exploring things. I want to make people explore things and go on adventures again. I think about all that, and I put that into my music, and just want. I see the state of the world, and I just want to help people, and you know. uh, give them an unforgettable experience, because a lot of people's memories are kind of all over the place, or they don't remember a lot of things about themselves, about life. And we just want to restore that, that balance, and
Mm,
remind them of why we here, who we are as humans, and having a soul, and being creatives, and we're divine. And I'm saying
yeah.
a lot. I'm
I
sorry, I
hear
don't
you
want to say
though.
too much.
I hear you. The thing that I appreciate about you, especially being a lyricist, is your work is relatable and
Thank you.
it's
Appreciate that.
inspirational
Thank you. I'm
and
honored. Thank you.
it does
Thank you.
give people hope. There's a lot of people who have the platform and they're not really talking about anything. And so what
Right.
I said it.
Right.
And so I
Definitely.
think,
Right.
what I appreciate about you is the fact that you're actually taking the time to say something. And so what intrigues me is wanting to understand what keeps you inspired. Like, because everyone has their good days and bad days, and it's easy to give up. It's easy to walk away. And I'm gonna say this first. I feel like you're the type of person where you feel like it's part of your purpose and you have to, because somebody's got to do it, and it might as well also be me. A lot of people who are lights in the world have very difficult pasts, and some people succumb to those pasts and some people turn them into light. And I know that that's what you have done. I know it and I see it, but I want to hear from you. What keeps you going? You can't say no. What keeps you going?
Whew. Yeah, you okay. Yeah. These are what people gonna want to know. So you came ready and stuff. That's why we fan you for years, by the way. If
Yeah.
for people that don't know, this is my
Yeah.
fan right here. She's awesome. And so yeah, it's one of those things where it's like the journey, and I'm at a point right now in my journey, as I'm moving forward, of like looking back on the past, and a lot of things I've dealt with, a lot of trauma, a lot of things I kind of like told sporadically, like, but I haven't fully told them about, like, past from foster care and all the things that I went through, because I would verbatim tell you a lot of things I actually did experience. It'll be like, yo, I don't want to depress you that much. I don't want to, but those things, I'm at a point now where I'm like understanding that I had to go through these things, unfortunately, and they were terrible things. They were terrible. But I'm at a point now where it started to hit me, and I started to have to dwell on them, unfortunately, because I got to fully get over them,
Hmm.
and that's hard, moving forward, and like letting go of pain and trauma, especially when it's that deep, but I have to, because there's other people that's going through the same thing, or went through the same thing, and they don't even know what to do, or they didn't turn out the same. They might crash out in some different ways, or they find a different form of escapism, and it might not be wholesome or healthy for them in many ways, physically, spiritually, or mentally. So I was like, okay, I guess I had to go through all this, because I had to, get to this point, because the journey that I'm on is not for the weak. It's like it's gonna take some strength, and it's gonna take some training consistently. You're gonna go through time, go through things, you're gonna go through wilderness periods. And when I be saying the wilderness period, the ones that know, but if you don't know, it's just you went through everything. You've been fasting, you've been praying, you've been studying, you've been doing this, you've been writing, physically working out, doing all this stuff, and then everything just kind of hits you at once. Like, oh man, I'm down on my knees, like I'm crawling, I'm trying to get through this. It's barren, the air is dry. It's like I'm
Yeah.
just trying to get through it, but you got to, because there's somebody when you get online. When I disappear for a while, when I do get online, and I get a message or I get a comment and somebody's like, this changed my life, man. Like, really, this is, or I started my business because of you or because of this song. And I'm like, oh man. So dealing with that's a blessing for one. I'm
Yeah.
eternally grateful for that, but eternally grateful for that. But I was like, dang, I made this song because I didn't give up, because I had to go through all this to get to that point to making this song. That's back to like the board of connecting all the connections. If I didn't go through A, B, C, D, I wouldn't have got to E. And
Mhm.
E is as important to A as it is to C. One of
Yeah.
those things, because the bigger picture is somebody's gonna get this and somebody it's gonna help them and maybe in the darkest point of their life. But because of that light, that guy, the people that he chose that in the Bible, like these were people that had like they was the misfits. They were like, David, what? Look at my son over here. He's big. He ready for this. David's just a guy out in the field with the sheep and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, that's him. That's him. You don't know, but you don't know what God knows,
Yeah.
because this person gonna be the light for somebody. And that's where we're at now. Is like to be that light in the world, you're gonna have to go through the darkest of times,
Yeah.
because when you get to that light, it's more than a person. Like, shout out to people that do their motivational speaking and all that, but a lot of people don't relate to that because they're like, oh man, you got a nice house, you doing this and that, you ain't really
Yeah.
come from nothing. But like when you went through half of the stuff that some of us went through, and then when we tell you it's gonna be all right, they're like, I believe it,
Yeah.
because they could have been a whole different thing. And that inspires me right there, because I'm like, yo, I look at people in the state of the world right now, they like zombified. We got, bees buzzing around and stuff. You ain't paying attention. So we got that going around and stuff, and they're like, buzz, buzz, what's the buzz? And these radios putting out these frequencies, and people don't know what's going on, and they just trying to figure out things and stuff. So I was like, okay, it's time for us to come together, and it's time. Somebody got to be the light. Somebody got to let them know, remind them of who they are and what their purpose is in life, and that there's still something for them. And there aren't just expendables or humans or a disease or nothing like that. It was like, don't let them keep telling y'all that. Because as long as they keep telling y'all that, you're gonna keep believing it. You're gonna keep acting accordingly.
Mm.
So
Mm.
I think all of
Yeah.
that. So, that those are things that inspire me, because I'm like, I know, I feel it in my heart. I know who we supposed to be. We're not accidents. We're not just here to take up space. We're here, to live this experience, like spiritual, physical, like we was made divine. And it's like people don't understand that because they tell them that they're nothing daily. And so that's how they act and that's how they feel. So I was like, I gotta give them something. And music is in the form of escapism and art and entertainment and stuff, and look at what they've done to it.
Mm. Yeah. I
Things
think
like that inspire me.
interesting that you even brought up the story of David, where you think that when it's time to take on a giant, you think that you need to pair a giant with a giant, but you actually paired it with a creative, someone who creates music. The reason why David got into the king's inner circle in the first place is because of those nightmares that the king was having, and the only thing that gave him peace was David's music. It was the harp. And so
Right.
when you think about how like the chaos in the world, even the example from the Bible is, it is funny. You got a little friend there. Mine's at the door scratching, trying to get in.
My
And if she was here, she would be right there in the camera.
yep, my little
So
assistant, my
yeah.
be ready for her close up, literally. See,
But I think it's like the perfect example of when there is chaos in the world. The light does come from the creatives. It comes from the creativity. Creativity comes from the struggle. Like they are all interconnected. There's a duality. One does not exist without the other. That
right.
poor baby, she want to get in.
Yep.
So I definitely appreciate you like even just bringing that to my attention because it's something that you don't think about, but yet it's still true. and even you just shining a light on that fact gave me a light bulb moment. Um,
Mm.
so the next thing that I want to know is where can people find you? Like, what's your social media so people can see what you're doing and what you're up to?
Um, the way people can find me is just look up. Okay. Might see me in the clouds somewhere or on the stars. But yeah, I don't be, online too much, but I'm about to be a little more active, especially coming up for a specific reason. So you might see me a little more for something. But
Exactly. I
I'm
think that's happening
yeah,
all around because it's
hmm
so easy to be in solitude and because
right.
you get a lot of downloads when you do
Right.
that. You get a lot of information and you do a lot of healing. But when
Yes.
you have a calling, you got to keep stepping out, even when
You
you don't
got
want to.
got to, right?
So,
And
yeah.
is in this next story arc that I'm moving into is gonna be something. It's gonna be unforgettable. So, it's gonna be one of those. And but it took a lot to get to that point of chronicling everything that was going on in real time. So,
Mhm.
it's one of those things where it took a lot. It took a lot for sure. But so yeah, you can find me on social media. Instagram at SkyBlew Music. That's SkyBlew Music, capital S, capital B, all together. And that's how you can find me on on SkyBlew, just Spotify, YouTube, just SkyBlew, Facebook.com/SkyBlew Music. I'm not on there too much, but I've been trying to do a little more. They kind of like just I don't know what they did to my page on there. I ain't even do nothing. I just come on there and share some stuff, inspiration when I can and stuff. And Facebook was like, nah, we don't like that. Yeah, it, we need we need something that's too much for too much for their soul. We need something that's going to darken their lights, man, condemn their
Right.
lights a little bit. So I'm kind of be dealing with that with algorithms kind of like pushing me down. But for the fam that do support me, they know they can find me there and they always show love. And I should be coming out with some more stuff soon, like a new I guess I'll share it here. Excuse me. I have a website coming out and some other things, so you'll better get
Okay.
me directly and stuff and
Okay.
newsletters and all that. So they won't be missing no posts no more. It shouldn't
Yeah.
people be saying, I'm glad you're still making music, or man, it's good to hear from you. I thought you stopped making music. And it was like, whoa, oh, that's crazy, man. I dropped like 5 albums over the last couple of years.
Right. Right.
So that's something I deal with too. So, it is what
Mm.
it
And that's how you know that you're doing something right.
is.
When everything
Wow.
is trying to keep you from accomplishing the overall goal because it's not even your goal. You're
Right.
just walking in your purpose, and what you do is serving its own purpose. It's that ripple effect. And so anytime something tries to get in the way of that, that's how you know you're doing something right. Like that's how I stay inspired and,
That's
having to be reminded
powerful. Yeah,
you're here
absolutely.
for a reason.
Yeah, right. They rather
So
have you running in place.
try to fill up that space.
Mhm. The ones that when they watch this back gonna know they're like, yo, okay, I thought okay. Right.
So, what I want you to think about and take your time because we have editing, um, a quote that means something to you. Like, what is it, whether it's your own quote or somebody else, what is an inspirational quote that you want to share with everyone that means something to you?
Inspirational quote that means something to me to share. You see, Martin Luther King said the time is always right to do what's right. And I feel like we're in a culture where like for especially people that know anime and like video games and stuff like that, it's one of those things where the anti-hero or like the guy that's like kind of like a hero, but he's like more villainous in different ways and stuff. They always make it seem like them are like the coolest, like all that. But then the hero is like look down on them and they're like, oh, they corny, they cliche and everything like that. It's like why? Because they doing what's right,
Yeah.
but they culture, they platform people that just of degeneracy. You know what I'm saying? They rather have you just crashing out and just all the things that's wrong for you in all aspects. They want to platform that. This is what algorithm is for. They're like right here, what's the buzz? This is
Yeah.
what you need right there in your life. And you're not even realizing what it's doing to you because they made it seem like it ain't doing that when you know something internally is wrong, but
Yeah.
that's the whole thing. But like it's always a time to do what's right, even if it don't benefit you, even if it's something that you might not get glorified for, and you might have to deal with the worst of the worst. But you're doing it not for yourself. You're doing it because it's gonna help somebody. Because in turn, you're like, this is not right.
Yeah.
Like even circling back to some of the people in the Bible, they even when Christ was here, he was just like pointing out the people that he was going against were the ones that was like they were supposed to be the ones that had all they knew it like people came to them. You're the ones like we get our advice from you, all the scriptures, all this stuff. And then but they didn't know like the heart of it. It was just more of a like, doctrine and dogma opposed to what the heart is.
Yeah.
And like another quote is, the kingdom is within you. That's what Christ was saying. And they don't publicize that enough because that's not dogma. That's not you gotta do this ritual, you gotta do this, you gotta do that.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, it's in you. And if
Exactly.
you if we start with love, first, when you start with love, and
Yes.
that's good. Everything will fall into place because you're gonna do what's right. You're gonna love each other. You're not gonna make decisions that's gonna hurt yourself or hurt anybody else because you care about all parties involved.
Exactly.
And that's part of doing what's right. It's always, no matter if it don't benefit you or not. If it's gonna help somebody, then just do it. And
Yeah.
that everybody can do that because everybody got a voice and they got something they can share. You got art, you got music, you got your podcast, you acting, you got all kind of things you can do. And look what you're doing with it. And you spreading light in various ways, and that's
Thank you.
doing what's right. And
Mhm.
people need that more than ever. This is a party for the dreamers. Everybody's invited. I'll be sending out an invitation for this awesome party coming up soon and stuff. So,
Okay.
but yeah, that those is a couple. I said a couple of quotes, but those are some that really have stuck with me. And yeah.
Okay. I definitely appreciate you taking the time out to speak with me today. I feel like you
Thank you,
and I could
sis. You
talk
already know.
all day.
Right, right.
But we are gonna leave it here. And I definitely want to follow up with you and check back in and see what's going on, especially with the website and some things that you
Yeah,
have going on.
soon we're gonna have to
So
talk soon because
yeah,
I got something coming out soon that's gonna
yeah.
be big. So we definitely gonna have to talk about it.
So
Because
everybody stay tuned. We're
hmm
gonna we're gonna circle back to this when the time is right. So thank you so
Yep.
much for speaking with me here
Hey,
today.
thank you. Peace
And
and love, y'all.
yeah,
Appreciate y'all.
have a
Appreciate
beautiful
everybody watching. And
day. All right.